On the night of January 11th, drones belonging to Ukraine's Special Operations Forces carried out strikes on 3 Russian drilling platforms in the Caspian Sea. Footage of the operation was published on the Special Operations Forces Telegram channel. The drone strikes hit the stationary Filanovsky, Korchagin, and Guerre platforms owned by the Lukoil Oil Corporation, causing explosions. All 3 platforms are used to supply fuel to the occupying Russian army. It should be noted that on December 11, 12, and 15 of last year, Ukrainian drones struck the Filanovsky and Korchagin platforms belonging to Russia in the Caspian Sea, and on December 19, they targeted the Guerre oil platform at the Rakasheknoy field in the Caspian Sea.
In the area of responsibility of the 81st Separate Air Mobile Brigade of Ukraine, the general situation remains tense. Russian troops continue their attempts to advance, particularly across the Siversky Donets River, but without success. This was reported by the 81st Air Mobile Slobozanska Brigade. The enemy uses small group tactics to infiltrate the settlement of Dronivka, and also tries to bypass our positions using the Siversk-Zakitne road. There is also a noticeable activation of the enemy from the direction of the settlement of Yampil. Mostly these are futile attempts to transport manpower or on motorized rubber boats across the Siversky Donets River and gain a foothold on the coastal territory, the Post says. In addition to crossings, according to preliminary information, the Russians are trying to pull up artillery and deploy pilot deployment points near the northeastern outskirts of Dronivka and in the Serebryansky forestry. The main goal of the enemy is to take control of the coastal part of the Siversky Donets, the settlements of Dronivka, Platonivka, Zakitne, in order to draw resources, deploy artillery and UAV positions, and control logistical support. The units of the 81st Brigade managed to detect the enemy in advance and inflict immediate damage on both enemy personnel and static targets. The Post emphasizes the area continues to maintain control over key coastal directions while there remains a high level of vigilance for enemy actions. Ukrainian forces continue to repulse attempts to advance and maintain stability on the banks of the Siversky Donets River. The situation remains dynamic, but the units will maintain coordination and readiness to deter the invaders' advance and support the security of the Siversky Donets coastal area. Despite the pressure, units of the 81st Separate Air Mobile Brigade of the 7th Rapid Reaction Corps continue to hold their positions and inflict losses on Russian forces in both manpower and equipment. According to the brigade, Russian troops are not stopping attempts to transfer personnel across the Siversky Donets River from the Serebryansky forestry area. Over the past 2 days alone, drone units of the 81st Brigade destroyed 2 boats carrying enemy landing troops. The enemy's key objective remains full control over the settlements of Serebryanka and Dronivka. If captured, these villages could be used as staging areas to build up troops and equipment, followed by further advances and attempts to seize high ground near Zakitne and Platonivka. Earlier, Russian leader Vladimir Putin once again claimed alleged successes by the Russian army, publicly announcing the capture of Siversk in the Donetsk region. However, these claims do not reflect the real situation on the battlefield. Earlier reports also noted that Russian forces had intensified operations along the Siversky Donets River, attempting river crossings at several points. The goal of these actions is to penetrate Zakitne and secure dominant heights, control of which is critical for the defense of Ukrainian positions.
Drone operators of the 40th Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces detected and targeted a boat of the invading Russian army on the Dnieper River. After the strike by the kamikaze drone, the Russian paratrooper on the boat swam to another boat with 7 more servicemen. The other boat also failed to escape the Ukrainian drones. The boat was disabled and blown up by successive strikes. Although the 8 wounded paratroopers on the boat tried to hide on the shore, they were unable to do so and were destroyed by shells fired from the drone. It should be noted that the boats of the Russian army moving on the Dnieper River are regularly targeted by Ukrainian drones. As a result, both the boats and the invaders on them are destroyed.